Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is rejecting from my exact area of resistance, which we can clearly see in the short term with this short-term pullback. But while this is happening in the short term, of course, if we're looking at the US stock market, this is continuing to pump into new all-time record highs, which does give us some hope for Bitcoin and crypto moving forward. But in the meantime, just in the short term, Ethereum, as we can see here on the smaller time frame, on the 3-hour chart, we do have a new warning signal starting to confirm, while the price of XRP is also now rejecting from my exact area of resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, taking a quick look at the US stock market, because this right here is the S&P 500 index on the 1-hour time frame, and we can see that right now, as of recording this video, it is currently pushing into new all-time record highs. And as I've been saying for many years here on the channel, the stock market and the crypto market are highly correlated, but as I've also been saying, it's not a perfect one-to-one correlation, so they don't move exactly the same. But usually, if we see a decent bullish move in stocks, we usually see some sort of bullish move or some sort of bit of a strength or gain in some price action for Bitcoin and crypto, just like how if we see a major crash in the stock market, we usually see a lot of weakness or some bearish price action for Bitcoin and crypto. And so just keep this in mind. This is still giving us some hope for the crypto market, despite the fact that in the short term, we're currently rejecting due to this resistance, which I did warn about in my last few videos, and I'll talk about in just a moment. But while the stock market is looking like this, that is still some good news for crypto, which I'll tie that all in just a moment. And if we're taking a look at the weekly Bitcoin price chart, over the last one day, nothing's really changed on the weekly time frame. So right now, the super trend indicator still sitting in the red, and this bearish divergence technically still active. But like I also talked about in my last video, we're potentially moving closer towards starting to invalidate this larger bearish divergence, which I explained in a little bit more detail in my last video here on the channel. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, we also have this smaller bullish divergence, which is also technically still active and could possibly start to form or soon possibly confirm a W or double bottom pattern. And so if that actually confirms with this next 3-day candle close in just a matter of hours from now, which by the way, we need to see this 3-day candle close confirm ideally above around 92.6k, 92.7k, and actually hold above that level in order to actually confirm this W or double bottom pattern. And if that starts to confirm here, if we confirm the breakout and then actually hold above that level and continue higher, then of course we'll be playing out a bullish price target, which I also shared in my last video, and that would also help to invalidate this larger bearish divergence, pointing towards potentially a bit more of a reversal in the price in the larger structure like what we saw last time. But remember, like I also explained in my last video, this is definitely a very crucial time in the market for Bitcoin specifically here in the short term, because we're at a potential turning point where we are running into major resistance, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But if that resistance breaks, then that could potentially start turning the bigger picture, as in what to expect over the next few weeks or months as a very likely scenario. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, right now we still have a lot of resistance in this area that I've been warning about for a very long time now on the channel, and this is still sitting in between around 92,000 to 94,000, but especially in the higher end of that area, so around 93, 94k, especially around 94k, we have a lot of resistance around there. So like I warned about before this rejection, I said get ready to see a lot of struggle or possible rejections from around this area on the price chart, which is now what is exactly playing out as predicted. But tying in what I said earlier about the US stock market pushing into new all-time highs, obviously, like I said earlier, this can potentially help crypto in the short term. Obviously, in the immediate short term, crypto is fighting against, specifically Bitcoin is fighting against this strong resistance right here. But due to the fact that the stock market is looking quite strong, and this is kind of like a rising tide lifts all boats situation, it can help push Bitcoin and crypto towards the upside. Due to this reason in the stock market pushing into new all-time highs, it is very likely that very soon Bitcoin will come in for another retest of this resistance, whether it's in a few hours from now or a few days from now, either way, very soon, it is quite likely we'll see some sort of retest again of this resistance at around 92 to 94,000, which in fact, as of recording the video, we're already at around 92,000 again, but we could likely see 93, 94K sometime soon in the coming days or so. But once again, we still have resistance in that area. It's not yet officially broken. And so as always, in order to actually confirm the breakout above this resistance, at least here in the daily time frame, we need to confirm at least a daily candle close above around 94,000 and then actually hold above that area moving forward in order to actually confirm the breakout and play out another bullish move towards the next resistance, which in this situation would be sitting at around $100,000 per Bitcoin. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 8-hour Bitcoin price chart, obviously we can clearly see the rejection that we've just seen over the last half a day or so, over the last one day, from this exact area of resistance that I've been warning about here on the channel. Once again, at give or take 94,000, still acting as strong resistance as we can clearly see. But the good news, at least so far, as of recording the video, we're starting to see a bit of a candle wick towards the downside. In other words, the price is already starting to rebound a little bit, which is following what I just said about the US stock market pushing into all-time highs, which can help crypto in the short term. In other words, potentially in the coming hours or days, sometime soon in the shorter term, it's quite likely we could potentially see some sort of retest again of this resistance. And so overall, those are my expectations, the key levels to watch out for, and next price targets towards the upside once we potentially confirm a breakout above this very strong area of resistance. And by the way, that would be the next potential trading opportunity, not financial advice, but in case you haven't done so already, this is definitely the time to get set up ready to go on a crypto exchange to take advantage of that next potential trading opportunity if you want to. And if you use the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, where there's currently a Christmas trading showdown still happening over here, which by the way, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. And during this event that's happening right now, there's a 1 million USDT prize pool. And so especially if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take that next trading opportunity, you might as well check this out. Take advantage of this using that first link below the video to 2bit. And remember, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But if you want another option out there, another exchange that I also use where you can also claim some extra bonuses on, then in that situation, check out the second link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, because the second link below this video will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, where you can also take advantage of huge bonuses. For example, if you make your account complete KYC using the link below the video, you get a 50 USDT bonus on your account. And on top of that, there's also deposit bonuses here. If you deposit as little as 100 USDT, you get a 100 USDT bonus on your account. If you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. And so basically, there's a bunch of free money that you can claim using that second link below the video to Pinex, free money from the exchange, which you can claim using that link, especially if you're going to be trading crypto anyway. You might as well check this out. Once again, second link below this video. But if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, right now, we don't really have a lot of liquidity towards the upside. In fact, we still have a major level sitting below the price at roughly around 86,500. But like I explained over the last few days at these lower prices back down here, I said we can't just rely everything on this one piece of information. We need to consider all of this information to figure out what is most likely going to happen for Bitcoin and crypto moving forward. Like for example, stocks heading towards all-time highs, but Bitcoin running into crucial resistance. All of this helps to influence Bitcoin and crypto in the short term alongside the liquidation heat map. And so considering that this liquidity is still quite a decent distance away from the current price of Bitcoin, and considering that the US stock market is actually looking quite strong, and that is very likely going to help Bitcoin and crypto moving forward, especially if this keeps pumping here, at least for now, I do continue to expect potentially in the next 24 hours, the price to somewhat stabilize a little bit after this rejection, kind of just settle a little bit, and then potentially in the coming days, start to see some sort of retest moving back towards this major area of resistance. And so overall, those are my exact predictions moving forward. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame, right now the Bitcoin dominance is continuing a further pullback to the point where right right now we're finally breaking that previous short-term bullish price structure. And so as we can see, the Bitcoin dominance is breaking below these previous lows and is also moving closer towards this low right here, which is an important low in the Bitcoin dominance that we set at around 58.5% in the dominance around 25th of November. And so we could potentially find a bit of support around that area on the price chart in the Bitcoin dominance. But overall, with the Bitcoin dominance now starting to flip a little bit more bearish, not necessarily having a huge crash towards the downside, but starting to trend a little bit more in the bearish direction, this means that potentially a lot of the major altcoins out there on average might start outperforming Bitcoin. Not necessarily having a massive altcoin season, because once again, at least for now, we're not seeing a huge crash in the Bitcoin dominance. But overall, in case you're new to this, basically if the Bitcoin dominance is bearish, it means altcoins on average are doing better than whatever Bitcoin is doing. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now the price of ETH is also continuing the previous breakout above this previous level of resistance, which is really an area in between around 3,000 to 3.1k. So like I explained recently here on the channel, I'll now expect support in that area. If we see any pullback, once again, expect support at around 3,000 to 3.1k. And as for resistance to watch out for, obviously we still potentially have a bit of resistance at around 3250, which so far we've failed to confirm a daily candle close back above 3,250. So that could still be acting as a bit of resistance in the short term. But if we break out past that point with confirmation, in that situation, the next resistance I'll be watching is at around 3.4k. And above that, I'd expect a lot of resistance at just above 3.6k. So really in between 3.6k to 3.7k as a very strong area of resistance. But if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 3-hour Ethereum price chart, we technically have a shorter term bearish divergence with one confirmation signal. Now, obviously it's not a lot of confirmation, and also considering it's only on the 3-hour time frame, it might not last very long, so keep that in mind. But considering that we do technically have one confirmation signal to confirm this new bearish divergence with higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI here on the 3-hour Ethereum RSI, of course, as usual with a bearish divergence, this means we're starting to lose a bit of that bullish momentum, which means we could start slowing down the bullish price action and see either some choppy sideways price action or maybe a little bit more of a pullback as the most common outcomes, the most likely outcomes from a bearish divergence. But remember, because this is only on the 3-hour time frame, I don't expect this to play out over weeks or months, instead potentially over a matter of hours, maybe a couple of days. That sort of time frame is what I continue to expect this shorter term bearish divergence to play out. Basically, while Bitcoin's struggling a little bit in the short term under this resistance right here, we'll likely see something similar for Ethereum in the shorter term, just struggling a little bit. But remember, because the Bitcoin dominance is pulling back, it means Ethereum and other major altcoins could perform a bit better than what Bitcoin is doing. So while Bitcoin maybe trades sideways, for example, we could see a very slight little bullish move for Ethereum, just as an example. But overall, I expect basically a bit of a slowdown in the bullish momentum, at least in the next 1 day or so for Ethereum. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, right now the price of Solana is obviously rejecting from my exact area of resistance that I've been warning about for a very long time now on the channel, and this is still sitting in between around 143 to 147. Basically, the moment we hit just a few cents above 143, entered into my exact area on the price chart, that is where the price started to reject from. And so once again, the price is also still perfectly playing out this bullish divergence on the daily time frame, helping to cause more recently a bullish relief, but initially a bit of choppy sideways price action is the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. So technically this is still active, it's still valid. We've not yet confirmed an invalidation signal to actually invalidate the bullish divergence, which means potentially in the next few days, maybe over the next week, not necessarily right this moment, but maybe in a few days from now, it could be likely we could come back up to see another retest of this area of resistance. But remember, like I've been warning about for a long time, expect a lot of resistance in between 143 to 147. That's definitely a significant area to pay attention to on the price chart, which means struggle, possible rejections from that area. But if we actually confirm a daily candle close, ideally above 147, and actually hold above that area, in that situation, the next target that I'll be watching, the next major point of resistance, would be really in between around 166 to 170 approximately. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, technically speaking, we still have a massive bearish divergence here, which so far has not yet officially invalidated, so keep that in mind. But like I explained in my last video, we are getting closer towards possibly invalidating this bearish divergence. We're just not there yet. And as for support, obviously we're continuing to bounce from this major support here, which was really the final significant level of support for the price. So we were quite lucky that we actually bounced at this level right here, sitting at around $1.80. So we still have a lot of support at $1.80. And if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, obviously we're also still playing out this smaller bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which as always, a bullish divergence means we're most likely going to see either choppy sideways price action or a bullish relief. And so far, that's exactly what we've seen. In fact, we've seen a lot of bullish price action, especially more recently. But once again, like I warned about in my last video, we have this strong area of resistance that the price is running into at the same time as hitting overbought in the daily XRP RSI, which means it's very likely we could struggle at this exact area, possibly even see a little rejection from this area. And right now, that is exactly what is happening as predicted. And so once again, considering the bullish divergence can still play out, especially if Bitcoin and other cryptos continue to play out some sort of retest of this resistance, that could also help XRP also come back up for another retest, and maybe in a few days from now or within the next week or so, not necessarily in the next hour, but sometime in the next few days, it could be likely we could try to see another retest of this resistance. But remember, still expect a lot of resistance in between around $2.30 to $2.40. And so that is still the strong area of resistance to focus on. And if we actually see a confirmed breakout with a daily candle close above 240 and holding above that level, in that situation, the next resistance I'd be targeting would be at give or take $2.60. So really in between around 255 to 265 as the next area of resistance. And in the meantime, just in the short term, while we're playing out this bit of a rejection here, right now I would expect support at give or take $2.20, really at around 220 to 225, and more support at around $2.12. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, right now Chainlink is still playing out this bullish divergence on the daily time frame, which means continue to expect either a bullish relief or maybe some choppy sideways price action here and there. It's the most likely outcomes, the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. So right now that is still active, still playing out as predicted weeks ago here on the channel. And right now we're not necessarily running into a significant level of resistance right this moment, unlike Bitcoin and XRP, for example, running into these significant levels of resistance on the price chart. And so potentially the main reason as to why we're seeing this slight little red daily candle right here for Chainlink is due to the fact that a lot of these major altcoins are highly correlated to each other. So if Bitcoin, for example, struggles in the short term, we'll likely see some sort of little struggle for Chainlink and a lot of major altcoins, which is what is now happening just in the short term. But remember, we're not really running into resistance right now. In fact, the next major resistance towards the upside for the price of Chainlink is sitting at around $14.70 to $15. And as for support to watch out for, we're pretty much testing this exact level of support here based on previous resistance and also previous support back here. And that's sitting at around $13.40, but really in between $13.30 to $13.50. I would expect a lot of support for the price of Chainlink in that area. And so overall, those are my exact predictions moving forward for all of these crypto assets and the key levels and signals to watch out for moving forward. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto or get set up ready to go to take the next trading opportunity, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade these moves no matter what direction the prices go, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.